Alexander Hamilton. Hello. Hey, what's up, my peeps? Welcome back to Ireland Tries the Internet. Welcome to me using a ring light for the first time. Yeah, my best friend got me a ring light for my birthday, so I thought I'd try it out, see how it goes. If it looks really bad, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll make sure to change it. There's a lot of different settings, like there's warm light and cool light settings, and then this is on its second to lowest brightness. I just want kind of like natural-ish light while being able to sit at a desk, because today we will be ranking all of the music in Hamilton. Quite a feat, to say the least. I will be ranking Hamilton music by character. And then after I have the number one song for each character, I'll decide my favorite song overall from the whole musical. So stick to the very end to find out what my number one favorite song is from the musical and why that might be. If you are new to my channel, please click subscribe down below. And leave a like if you like this video and would like to see me do more rankings or look at more musicals that I'm really interested in. Hamilton is one that I've been obsessed with for a very long time. I started getting really into it, I think it was my freshman year, so 3 years ago? About 3 years ago, I started getting really obsessed with the musical, loved the music. I went to go see it, spent too much money trying to go see it, but I saw it live, and then it's kind of re-emerged as it became popular on the Disney Plus now. It's now streaming on Disney Plus, which is fantastic. I watched it the day after it came out because I wanted to watch it on 4th of July with my family. I thought that this is an excuse to get my family to sit down for a musical. I was like, it's 4th of July, you gotta watch it. So that was how I got more into it again, caught back in the loop, one could say. And then I watched it again today, earlier this morning. I rewatched the whole thing so that I could get my ranking set in place and make sure I could come up with one iconic line for each one. So enough rambling, let me get into the specifics of how this ranking is going to go down. So, I split up each song based on character. So, I will be judging these songs mainly based on the character value, like how much it tells you about that character or how much it helps that character develop or says something very particular, and then the feeling that it evokes in me specifically, because I'm not an easy judge of everybody. I'm not everyone. I obviously have my own tastes and my own specific songs that I like. So yeah, just a little disclaimer, I suppose. This is my opinion. This is not everyone's opinion. Also, this is a musical, and I'm treating it strictly as a musical in terms of the story. I know there's a lot of historical background. I know it's based off of the real life of Alexander Hamilton, obviously, but I'm treating it strictly as a story that's told within the span of the 2 hour, 40 minutes time slot. So, as someone who is an English major and who enjoys writing stories, I thought it'd be fair to judge the music based on that rather than just, I like this one because it's got a fun hip-hop beat, because that's pretty much already been done by a lot of other people who are more musically inclined than I am. So I will be splitting up the songs based on character. That means that each song might be in different categories. So for example, there could be a song that's in Hamilton's category that's also in Eliza's category because it says different things for each character. So I thought it'd be fair to include the rankings within each character. So there's, I guess, a chance at the end that the same song could be at the top for multiple characters. I don't see that happening. just because each song plays a special role in each character's lives. Like, for example, Satisfied means a whole lot different to Angelica than Schuyler Sisters does. So I'll explain it as I go along. And then also to add something fun, just because I am a big fan of singing, I thought I would sing one line from each song. That way, if you've seen it and you only have like a vague recollection of it, you could be like, oh, that's where that one is. But also I thought it'd be important to include one iconic line. That way, that's my specific go-to for why I chose that song for the place that it's in, and also what is so significant about that one specific line. I will go into that, of course. And I just like singing. I suppose another disclaimer, I am not a professional. I'm in the choir at my school. That's about it. That's about the extent as my musical talent goes. So please do not berate me in the comments being like, oh, she's saying this weird, or you have a terrible voice. I just don't need that. Like, I'm just singing the song because it's fun. I'm not here to say I'm a great singer or anything, because I know that I'm not amazing. I just like doing it. It's just fun to do. I should also mention that I pretty much adore all the songs of this musical. There's just so much talent and so much like specificity put into every single note and melody, and the dance numbers and the actors and actresses, and it's just fantastic how much attention to detail and effort is put into the musical as a whole. And so I just want to give props for that, but I also want to acknowledge that, hey, it's not perfect. It doesn't entirely highlight some of the drawbacks of a lot of the major figures in history, but you can't always do that in every single story you tell. So I think that's important to remember, is that this is a very long musical, and to have to fit in so much information in such a short amount of time, it's someone's entire life, and you're already including his life, you're including his wife's life, you're including every other character's life, and you need to know where to draw the line for specific things. So I know there's a lot of people that are like, well, it doesn't show a lot of Jefferson's terrible misdoings and the fact that he owned slaves and everything. And I understand that. I understand it's not a great historical figure to idolize. But also it's a story, and you can only say so much within that amount of time. And you have to decide what kind of story you want to tell and what kind of message you want to leave behind. In this case, the message that's mainly left behind is that you don't know who's going to tell your story. Not every story is linear per se. All right, let's get down to it. Let's start this list. I've spent a lot of time on this list. I keep changing it throughout today. Right before now, I even changed some more of it. And I'm probably going to change my mind even after making this video. But I'm human, so that's okay. So, let's get started with the main man himself, Mr. Alexander Hamilton. So, from my count, I took into account all the songs of the whole musical, and I counted a total of 25 different songs in which Hamilton either has a role or has just characterization through that song, regardless on whether or not he's the main person in that song or not. I did cut out some of the ones where it was Burr singing about him, because that's narration, but if there's not like new information gained from that song, then there's not a whole lot of point in adding it to the list. But anyways, let's get started. So, Hamilton, number 25. My pick for last place for Hamilton is the Adams administration. Hamilton publishes his response, "Sit down, John." That is the Adams administration. So, this is at the very bottom of the list. Again, I'm a fan of all of the songs. I think they're all very well written and do a good job of pushing the plot forward, and also being a good melody too at the same time. So, based on feeling and characterization, Feeling, I don't get a whole lot from Adams' administration. When it comes on in the car, I skip it. There's just not a whole lot there. It's fairly short, and yeah, the only memorable moment is Hamilton cursing out John Adams, basically. And that's the only pretty much characterization you get from Hamilton throughout that whole song is just, I was fired. Boom! Yeah, Adams' administration is last place. Don't modulate the key, then not debate with me. Farmer refuted. I actually really like this melody, but characterization-wise, it just is a lesser version of My Shot, in my opinion, because it talks about how he's willing to, like, stand up and, like, be openly against British government and everything, which he already said during My Shot. So it's like, we already know this about you. So Farmer Refuted is number 24 on our list. Number 23, Cabinet Battle number 2. So Cabinet Battle number 1, hard-hitting, boom, punch Jefferson in the face. And then you get to Cabinet Battle 2, and Hamilton is really reckless. So in this one, he kind of just shouts at him. He's like, you gotta be out of your mind. So my key line I took away from this was meddling in the middle of a military mess. So that's a mouthful. There wasn't a whole lot of lines to gain from this one, so that's what I picked. That kind of stands for why it's in its place. I think it shows a Hamilton decline, which is why it's above Farmer Refuted and Adams' administration, because it shows Hamilton's decline, so that gives it more characterization and pushing forward of the plot that way. And it also makes it very clear that Hamilton does not want to get himself in another war recklessly, and I think that's really important. Also, it's so messed up because in one of the songs, he says, we'll be with you when you do, to Lafayette, and then immediately ditches him when things start happening. So Jefferson has beliefs, Burr has none. That is the election of 1800. It's pretty good, but it's not mainly Hamilton's song. It's just the main reason it's lower is I like it. But it's mainly about Jefferson or Burr, if you had to choose. It's not really about Hamilton, but I think I put it on the list and put it as something that characterizes Hamilton because it shows blatantly his dislike towards Burr. I don't know how else to phrase that. He just doesn't like Burr. Burr doesn't like him. He doesn't like Burr. And he openly says, I'd rather take an enemy that has disagreed with me on every single front than somebody who waits for it. So I think that says a lot. It just doesn't say as much as the other songs. So number 22. Number 21. I don't have your titles, I don't have your land, but if you gave me command of a battalion, meet me inside. He just gets so upset. He's like, don't call me your son. Real sore subject for him. So I think there's a lot of feeling there. There's just not a whole lot said. It does say that he's upset because he mainly stands up for Washington because he just doesn't have those things that he has, and he just wants to be given a chance, and he's not given the chance that he wants, per se. He wants to fight. And he doesn't get that. So it says something, it's just there's a lot of other better ones out there. Alright, so number 20. The world was wide enough. If I throw away my shot, is this how you remember me? Very iconic line. Yeah, the world was wide enough. Although it is about Hamilton's death, and then you could say that is a huge character change throughout the story, I kind of disagree, because you already get that sense from earlier on that they emphasize so often that he's not going to throw away his shot. They're like, it kind of makes you question, like, well, is he going to do that? It seems like he kind of is if you keep bringing it up every 5 seconds. So, yeah, you already get that feeling. You already see his son die. So there's already a lot of character things that happen there before this even happens. And this is just when he's just done. Also, I feel like Burr carries more of the story and the singing of this one, so I count it higher towards him than I do towards Hamilton. Also because Hamilton's in a lot of songs, so there's only so many things I can put up at the top. The Reynolds pamphlet. You ever seen somebody ruin their own life? His poor wife. Indeed. It's not anything big, but it pushes the plot forward in a point that I think is really important. Angelica, Liza, they have more meaningful moments from this song than he does. So it's mainly just, I feel bad about my affairs that I've been doing, but we already know about the affairs. So there's not a whole lot there gained. But it is important, obviously, to learn that he publishes that response. You ever see someone ruin their own life? Literally, he ruined his own life. You did the affair. You published that you did the affair instead of just talking to your wife about it. That's messed up, man. You were more concerned about your image than you were about the people that you're around, which you should care about because they're the ones that carry on your message and your legacy later on. So that's why I think that's important, and that's why it's like sort of in the middle-ish. 18. We know. Yes, I have reasons for shame, but I have not committed treason and sullied my good name. That song's a lot. And so that line always gets me because I'm like, yikes. Yikes. I also put this on Jefferson, obviously, because his part is very significant in this. But in this, he makes this blatant line that it's like, yep, I should be ashamed of my affairs, but it's not nearly as bad as me money laundering. It's like, maybe it is. I mean, they're not equivalent, technically speaking, but he's like, that's what would ruin my legacy, that's what would ruin my name, but in fact, what actually ruined your name, Hamilton, was the affair, mainly. In terms of this story, I can't speak onto all of the intricacies of history, obviously. So I'm speaking to, once again, this story. And in terms of this story, the affair ruins his life. And that's the reason he will never be president now. So, you did that. That's your bad. And this line is very telling to his character, I think. We're getting to some of the great ones now. This was harder for me to decide because I love so many songs. I'm just a big nerd here to tell you my opinion, and that's all I can do. This is YouTube after all, so subscribe. Anyways, number 17, The Story of Tonight reprise, or reprise, however you say that. Let me know if I'm saying it wrong. I'm going to say reprise, because it sounds fancier. Story of Tonight reprise. The reprise is technically better than the original one. But I don't really include the original one on here, because it doesn't really say a whole lot for Hamilton. It's just kind of like raise a glass. It says more about the other characters, and so I include that on some of the other characters rather than in Hamilton's list. Because he's in it, but it's not like, you just don't get much from him. So I only have the reprise on here, and the reprise is personally better than the original. Because it has Burr in it. And I'm maybe a little biased towards Burr because, oh, Leslie, you're phenomenal in this role. And your voice and your acting is just on point. I am a big fan. So anyways, I will never understand you. I think it's a big line. It's very short compared to some of the other lines I've had for other songs, but I think it's equally as significant because it shows that it's his first time actually admitting, like, Burr, I really don't get you. Like, we're so different. And that's why they knock heads all the time. But he just doesn't ever really say it outright, at least that I can think of before this. So he's just, I will never understand you. If you love this woman, go get her. What are you waiting for? It hits me in the heart, and so in the feelings category, it goes up. And in terms of the characterization, it goes up a little further than these other points because it's just right to the point. Just, Burr, we're so different. Go for your things. Don't wait for it, Burr. Unless it's in terms of waiting for you to murder me. In that case, please do wait for it. Alright. So number 16. Your obedient servant. I won't apologize for doing what's right. So, we all know Hamilton is hot-headed. I like this song more from Burr's characterization because it shows him having a really upset and angry tone, which is unusual for Burr, sort of. I say that it is more of an unusual tone for Burr because while a lot of his other narrations, you could say are very kind of like passive aggressive, or actually aggressive, but that's different than like him in his like actual time. I don't know how to explain this very well, but there's two sides of Burr. There's the narration Burr, and then there's the I'm in real life time Burr. And when it's narration Burr, I always think of it as kind of like an after. Like, this is what Burr would say at the end, looking back on his life and all of these events where Hamilton existed. Whereas your obedient servant is in present time. So that's him actually reacting to that moment. And that is the one time where he just snapped off. And so Hamilton goes off on him too. He's like, here's an itemized list of our disagreements. He's like, oh God, really, Hamilton? Yes, Hamilton is that extra. Let's not forget that. So I think that says a lot about him. It shows, boom, I'm not going to apologize for doing what's right. I'm still hard-headed, baby. Lord, show me how to say no to this. I don't know how to say no to this. Oh my God, you look so helpless. I'm not singing the rest because it's upsetting. It's a beautiful song, don't get me wrong, but it's just so upsetting to see that happen. Like, I know like Hamilton's not like a great person, like the best person throughout this. Like, he's a pretty arrogant, loudmouth baller. So it's not for everyone, but this was the moment where I was like, oh, Hamilton, no, don't do this. Don't do that to Eliza. She's the best one. It's just, the feeling is high on that one because you're like, oh, that's a bad move. Don't do that. And he's like, I'm gonna do it still. And you're like, no. So there is that, obviously. And so the feelings are high in this scenario because it's kind of the first thing where Hamilton is like, boom in your face, I'm doing something very wrong for a long time. Number 14. You have to serve, you could continue to serve one last time. You have to serve, you could continue to serve one last time. It's such a good song. I love this song for Washington. But it's lower on the Hamilton list because, again, it's not as forthcoming with characterization of Hamilton through this. But I think you do gain some important information that you don't really see anywhere else. It's him being like, please, Washington, you don't go away. You're the only thing pretty much holding me in my power position here. So he's like, you could stay. Please stay. Don't go. Washington, no. It's like a father figure to him. So it's a little heartbreaking to see Hamilton be told for the first time that I'm not coming back. You're on your own now, son. And it's like, oh no. Dad, don't leave. It's pretty much what I gained from that. I'll rise above my station, organize your information, till you rise to the occasion of our new nation. Right-hand man. I think there's a lot said right there. It's just, boom, Hamilton is taking that power. He is not throwing away his shot at this moment, and he is going for it. He is going for it hardcore. And it's pretty early on, so you're like, oh, there he goes, finally. Like, do your thing. Tell him you have friends. So there's a lot of information revealed over the time of this song. Of course, more information is revealed, in my opinion, about Washington than Hamilton, which is why it's not higher on the list. But there's still a lot of information gained. You learn about him being like, I have friends, and you learn about how like detailed he is in his writing. We do that kind of know before, of course, because that's what got him there, but you learn about like his organization skills and his ability to be picked out by Washington and chosen for this position instead of Burr, who was right there. He's like, oh, yeah, we keep meeting. And then Burr's like, oh, there goes my thing. Because Hamilton's here now. Poor Burr. Anyways, number 12. Who lives, who dies, who tells your story? I think it's just very powerful. Yeah, this is one where obviously he's not technically like in it. Because it's about everyone talking about him. But that's exactly the point for why it's higher up on the list than a lot of the other ones where he's actually a main part of it. Is because he's there's just so much information you get from it. You get like, oh, yeah, I tried to dismantle his financial thing and it didn't work. He doesn't get enough credit for the credit he gave us. Like you get all of the anecdotes from each of the characters, and it's really powerful. So the feelings go up, especially since it's the very end, and you get really sad. Yeah, it's just an emotionally powerful song where you get a lot of character information, and I really like that. Just let me stay here by your side, and that would be enough. It's quiet uptown. So sad. This is a sad one too, but it's higher up because it's just emotionality is up there. Also character development. A lot of character development through this song because you see Hamilton's uptown. It's quiet uptown. He's never liked the quiet before. And he has to apologize. He has to learn how to apologize and give Eliza time to forgive him. And tries really hard at that, while also grieving over his dead son. That is more or less due to his poor advice. So, if you know what? Tangent. If you didn't do that affair, your name wouldn't have been raked through the mud. You probably would have been up for presidency, possibly. I don't know if he would have won, but that's historical stuff. Philip wouldn't have had to fight for your honor. Philip would have never died. You wouldn't have lost your wife. There's so much you lost from your little fling. I hope it was worth it. I'm getting emotional, obviously. Eliza's always the one kind of fending for him to like give her attention and for him to repay the love that she just gives unconditionally. And here he is now in the opposite role, so it's like a role reversal where it's like, I'm singing your part because now I'm the one that's helpless in this situation, and I'm really sorry. Hurricane. I'll write my way out, overwhelm them with honesty. He's a writer. It's what he's always done. There's so much information given in this one. Yeah, there's just a lot said here about what he thinks is going to happen and then what actually happens. And also a lot of history told. He's like, this is what I've always done to get out of things, so I gotta do the same thing. They'll understand because I'm being honest. Except you're being honest about something really sucky. So not something people typically come right out with in the public. So, whoops. Immigrants, we get the job done. I love this song. Yorktown is number 9. It is a banger. But also, there's a lot of stuff said in this song. There's a whole battle sequence, so much choreography. Just the world turns upside down. It's incredible. And that's why it's number 9. I lose my job if we can't get this plan through Congress. Take a break. Take a break, Alexander. Yeah, this is like a decline of his character, in my opinion. This is like the start of his decline, is when he's like so freaking stressed that he's like, I can't go anywhere with you, Eliza. But this is the start of the decline, you could say. And so that's why it's pretty high on the list. Also, it's a really good song, but it's probably higher for the ladies. Aaron Burr, sir. This is a song that applies mainly towards Aaron Burr, obviously, but it's pretty high on Hamilton's list because it shows their, like, relationship. So it's like, oh, they have stuff in common. And it shows Hamilton's first impressions of Burr, which I think is really important. I wish there was a war, then we could prove we're worth more than anyone bargained for. That's a big line. That's a big old line for Hamilton to say. My first friend, Aaron Burr. Cabinet Battle number 1. I love Cabinet Battle number 1. It's so divisive and decisive. So it's just straight to the point. I hate Jefferson. Just right into it. If we're aggressive and competitive, the Union gets a boost. Would you rather give it a sedative? Just bang on with that one. Yeah, that line is just so perfect, and it's just so great at showing just, boom, these two are not gonna get along ever. And I think that's really important in the further development of this story. Non-stop. I am Alexander Hamilton, Hamilton, just you wait. I am not throwing away my shot. Bing. This is a favorite of mine, personally. It's just so amazing. So much is happening. All of the songs from the first act just hit you in the face. Here's my character. Here's my character. Here's how it applies to Hamilton right here, right now. And that's incredible that all of them somehow are able to intertwine into a perfect melody of non-stop. Amazing, Lynn. You're so amazing. You get those key phrases from each of the characters now describing Hamilton himself, and that characterization is huge for the story. You're like, you will never be satisfied, Hamilton. I'm helpless. They are asking me to lead. Isn't this enough? There's just so much said. Number 4. Helpless. All I have is my honor, a tolerance for pain, a couple of college credits, and my top-notch brain. All I have is my honor. First of all, the irony. Sort of irony? Because it's ironic. Because, one, he supports his honor so much throughout the whole thing. And then also, he loses his honor later on. So it says, all I have is my honor when he's talking to Eliza. He's like, this is what I have. This is what I can offer you. My honor. So important later on, and it's just a little foreshadowing, I think. It says a lot about him, and it also sets up his relationship with Eliza, which is really important for later on in the story. And so I kind of put a lot of the setups higher on the list than some of the payoffs, and that's a personal choice, but I just think that the setup is really important for the whole story. I think it's just so important to set up, this is how their relationship is right now, and then you get to Burn and you're like, oh, whoa, what a change. So, yeah, I think that's really important, and that's why I'm placing it higher on the list. Number 3, Dear Theodosia. I absolutely adore this song. I know it's not a huge favorite among a lot of people, but I just personally, I love it. The emotions are really there. Every time my mom hears this song, she starts crying. Also, this iconic line. Pride is not the word I'm looking for. There is so much more inside me now. I think it's just, I know people don't really look into this line a whole lot, at least that I've seen, but pride is not the word I'm looking for. There's so much more inside me now. It's just so huge for Alexander's character, I think. Because when he says that, I think you're a master debater along with a, like, huge writer that has been praised for how incredible your writing is. And to say that you don't know what the word is in this situation, I think says a lot for his character. Because it's like, oh, you can write a billion letters about all these things, writing to Congress for supplies and writing to Eliza, but when your kid is born, you have no words. Everything that you've learned, everything that's happened is just gone. And I think that's so beautiful. I think it's just so beautiful for him to be like, pride, I've been prideful. I'm a Hamilton. I'm the Hamilton. And I've always been prideful, but pride is not the right word right now. It's so much more. And it's just a beautiful line of poetry that I can't forget, and that's why it's number 3. Number 2, Alexander Hamilton. Oh, who didn't see this coming? Bet you were all waiting for this one to come up, because you're like, the one that's got his name in it? Also, it's not number 1. Ooh. Get your education, don't forget from whence you came, and the world's gonna know your name. What's your name, man? Alexander Hamilton. It's boom, in your face. This is the first song. I'm gonna hit you with the fact that this is the Hamilton musical. So emotions up, you're like, oh, if you've never seen this musical before, you're like, oh my gosh, wowza, this is quite an intro. I know it's some people's not their favorite song, but I think it's just so important. You learn a whole lot about the character through this one song. You learn about his upbringing, you learn about his writing ability, you learn that he's smart, you learn that he's an immigrant and is gonna freaking fight his butt off for this. So you get a real big impression real fast from this character just by this first introduction song. You also get a big impression from a lot of the other characters too, which I think is really important and doesn't factor into this specific list because this is just Hamilton, but I think that's so important. So, what is the number 1 position? I am not throwing away my shot. So my shot is my number 1 pick for Hamilton character. There's just a lot going on here. And while it's not exactly the setup of these ideas, it is a lot of, whoa, this is me. This is coming up. I am here. I am in New York. I am ready to make friends. I'm ready to call you out. Even though I just met you, I punched a guy in the face. There's a lot of information there. And it's really good. And it's just really mixed into the melody. And I remember watching like an interview, and Lynn is like, if I can get through my shot, I would think that I could get through the whole play because there's just so many words thrown around in this one. So much information to gain about Hamilton, and also it's so fun to sing. Yeah, there's a lot that goes on in this one song, and that's why I have it at number 1. Let's get to Aaron Burr. How many songs does Burr have? 12. Number 12, A Winter's Ball. Hamilton still wants to fight, not right. I think there's some said for that, but Winter's Ball is not my favorite. It's just there, but it mentions like a starting of his like, Hamilton, really? We're so different. I wouldn't have done that. Why are you trying to fight when you could be in power and stay alive? Like, I don't get it. Number 11, the election of 1800. Chasing what I want, and you know what I learned that from you. I think that's really important because it's like, oh, I have hated you for so long, but even I have learned something from you too. They both have grown with each other which is something really beautiful, but also kind of tragic. It must be nice to have Washington on your side. I love this song. It's just, I think it says a lot because he's like, wow, I really wish I was in your position, that I could just sit by and write all these things and be on the side of the general and president now. Yeah, so it says a lot, but there's still a lot more character development in other songs. Number 9, Skylar Defeated. I changed parties to seize the opportunity I saw. This is coming from some guy that was saying, I'm just waiting for my chance. I'm just waiting. I'm lying in wait. And then he's like, this is my chance. I'm going for it. He's like, once he sees Hamilton pushing so hard on things, he's like, you know what? I'm not going to sit by anymore. I'm going to go for it. I want to be in the room where it happens, baby. Big moves from that guy. The Story of Tonight Reprise. I really like Burr's involvement in this song. Just, congrats again, Alexander. Smile more. I just love that part. He just reinforces that character moment where he's like, I already told you to smile. Now I'm saying smile more because you have a lot that you should be grateful for. You kept me from the room where it happens for the last time. That is so important. That is such an important line. It's just a drawing point. It's just, I'm done with you. This is it. We're over. Like, we've been friends for this whole time, but like at this point, you have been keeping me from the room where it happens for the last time. You're a dead boy. Is basically what he says in this song. Number 6, The World Was Wide Enough. Now I'm the villain of your history. I think that's just, oof. Right in the heart there. I was too young and blind to see that the world was wide enough for both of us. And it's true. There's a lesson there that I think is just very important for like the whole world, is that the world is wide enough for all of us to be happy and do the things we want. Why are we constantly fighting over everything as though I'm the only one that the world has space for? I'll keep all my plans close to my chest. I think that him taking part in Nonstop throughout the rest of the time is also really important. He's like, ooh, why are you writing so fast? Why do you assume you're the smartest in the room? There's just so many iconic lines in this one that I tried to pick one. But there's a lot there of Burr saying something about Hamilton and further characterizing Hamilton and himself in a different way. I wanna be in the room where it happens, I wanna be in the room where it happens. Really big character development for Burr. It's huge for him. It's that moment where it clicks for me. It's like, I can't wait for it anymore. I have to make a move. I gotta. I can't be left out anymore. I'm not gonna wait and let Hamilton take all of my opportunities away from me. Number 3, Aaron Burr. Sir, so much is said about him, and if you disagree, you're crazy. I'm sorry. Talk less, smile more. Don't let them know what you're against or what you're for. Big highlight for Aaron Burr. Just so much is said in this. It's just like, I am a smart man. We have just met, but I'm going to tell you a very important lesson that tells you exactly what kind of character I am. I am the kind that waits for it. I'm the kind that does not like somebody that's arrogant and loud-mouthed. And I'm going to tell you that straight to your face, sir. Number 2, Dear Theodosia. I'm gonna reiterate the fact that I love this song so much. It's just a beautiful song, and in my opinion, Burr really leads this song, like more than, like, Hamilton's there and he has good parts, but Burr just leads the song. This is my daughter, and I I love her. That's pretty much what the song says, and I think it's so beautiful. All right, number one. Wait for It. I love this song with like a burning passion. It's just so good. It's so good. No one fight me on this, okay? It's incredible. I am the one thing in life I can control. Just that one line. Just, I am an original. There's a lot said in this song. Just, I'm gonna wait for it. This is why I'm waiting for it. This is my whole life. Theodosia, my parents, Hamilton, everyone that's been important in my life, I'm gonna sing about them right here, right now, in an incredible fashion. And that is why it's number one. It's just so beautiful. The melody is just perfect for the character. But also it says so much. The emotionality is incredibly high because this is just his kind of going off song of just blatantly explaining himself as a character. Just right in your face. I am Aaron Burr, and this is why I'm the way that I am. So, Angelica has 5 songs. Underrepresented character. I love her. He is not a lot of fun, but there is no one who can match you. Return of race, my Alexander. First of all, Renee's voice. Can we just talk about that for a second? Incredible. She is an amazing singer. She is an incredible actress. She is perfect as Angelica. Her part in that is just beautiful. But it's number 5 because there is a lot better times where she just goes for it. Your favorite older sister, Angelica, reminds you there's someone in your corner all the way across the sea. Take a break. She plays such a big role in this. First of all, she highlights, once again, the fact that she is in love with him. She said, your favorite older sister reminds you that even though I live far away, I'm still gonna write you and I'm still gonna love you. But what we had aside, I'm standing at her side. You'll never be satisfied. God, I hope you're satisfied. That part just woo in your face with her incredible singing voice and the fact that she just tells him off. She's saying, I know that I loved you in the past and I had wished that I had married you, but now I am here for my sister and I'm not even paying attention to you. We're done. We're done. Whatever relationship I had with you, sisterly or otherwise, is over because you betrayed my sister. And that is incredible. She is just so amazing right here. She just tells him off. She's just like, nope. I'm not dealing with your nonsense, Alexander. I don't understand what you're going through. I understand my sister. Ooh! You want a revolution? I want a revelation. So listen to my declaration. Schuyler sisters. I'm Angelica. That's all I need to say, I think. I remember that night, I just might regret that night for the rest of my days. I remember those soldier boys tripping over themselves to win our prize. I remember that dream like candlelight, like a dream that you can't quite phrase. To the groom, to the bride, satisfied. I will never be satisfied, you will never be satisfied. It comes up later, and I think that's incredible. That's just the iconic symbol for her character, so how can I not put it at number 1? Like, that's the theme song for her character. Enough said. It's fantastic. Eliza has 12 songs. Stay Alive. I know a lot of you are going to come from me and are going to say, she's not really in the song, but she is the backbone of the song. Just stay alive. Stay alive. That's all she has in the song. But I think that echoing really is important for her character, personally speaking, because Eliza's like a really safe kind of character, and she's just saying, just please stay alive. That's it. I'm sure he already knows. That just says a lot about her relationship with Alexander, is that she knows already that he knows. Best of wives and best of women. I just like the part where she says, well, I'm going back to sleep. Just, Alexander, come back to bed. Don't be stupid and do another duel. Have I done enough? Will they tell your story? Eliza's the real backbone and focus of this song, personally. I know it's about Hamilton dying, but it's more to me about what Eliza does after and how she is an incredible person who is like goes and interviews other soldiers, raises money for Washington Monument and the orphanage, speaks out against slavery. Just so many awesome things that she does that I just think is phenomenal. And regardless of whether or not it was for Hamilton, she did it. And she gets the points for that. Who did this? Alexander. The moment she sings that line, it's just, ooh! I am torn to pieces because your child is dead. So just stay alive. And then also because she sings with Philip and just, oh, I lose it. The fact that you're alive is a miracle. Just stay alive, that would be enough. Basically, Eliza's character on a head-on point, just stay alive, that would be enough. I'm just asking for safety here. That's all I'm asking from you, Alexander. Forgiveness. Can you imagine? The heart in this song is beautiful. And once again, before you people come for me for the fact that she is rarely singing in this, if at all, really. But also, it says a lot about her. Because while she's not really singing for it, it's sung for her and about her. So it's about her having this just incredible grace and ability to forgive somebody that did something really terrible. Run away with us for the summer, let's go upstate. Just, let's go. Please, Alexander. Please. Yeah, there's a lot said there about Eliza's safety, and please just forget your work for once and come love me, basically. If I could grant you peace of mind, would that be enough? Just, oh, you know it's never going to be enough, Eliza. Because Hamilton always is super extra and just can't even accept the good thing that he has right in front of him. Look around at how lucky we are to be alive right now. She repeats that a few other times. And it's just really important for her character. And if it's repeated, then I think it's really important to have in the top 3 in terms of development and characterization. The feeling of this one is it's really an uppity song, and it says a lot more, I think, about Angelica than it does about Eliza. Also, at this point, I would like to apologize to Peggy for not making it on any of these lists. Look into your eyes and the sky's the limit. I think that line is really important because it's like she looks into his eyes and it's like, oh, everything's perfect and everything's dreamy, but then things don't end up that way. And she just feels so helpless in that she's like, oh, he's perfect and amazing and I love him. And he writes me letters that make me feel incredible. I'm erasing myself from the narrative. Let future historians wonder how Eliza reacted when you broke her heart. You've torn it all apart. Oof, when she sings this song, it hits home immediately. Immediately Eliza's most emotional song. And it just says so much about her. It's just, I'm not dealing with any of this garbage. I'm not gonna make a show in front of the public about you. I'm just gonna handle things in private, the opposite of what you did. And Eliza just basically takes on being the bigger person, in my opinion. Washington. He has 5 songs. Number 5, Stay Alive. We're gonna fly a lot of flags half-mast. That's it. It's not really hugely important for him. I think it's a little bit important because it's like, oh, here's the general doing stuff. But that's about it. Alright, meet me inside. I am not a maiden in need of defending. He says that to Alexander. This is a real tension point between the two characters, so I think that's really important. But also, that's about it. We're gonna teach them how to say goodbye, you and I. Says a lot about his character and the fact that he wants to retire and that he just ditches Hamilton. Is like, I don't need to be in a position of power for the rest of my life. I just want to go home. So yeah, good on you. Number 2, history has its eyes on you. Another fantastic one with like a good message, I think, because that's basically the theme of the whole musical. Even now I lie awake, knowing history has its eyes on me. Iconic, basically the theme of the whole musical. Basically a theme for Washington too. It's like, yeah, ever since I became a general, I knew that this was kind of going to be my fate. Right-hand man. This just throws out the immediate, this is who Washington is. The most iconic line from this one, I think, is, dying is easy, young man, living is harder. I think that says about Washington's character in this musical and the fact that he's kind of the wise father voice for Hamilton. And it basically talks about him being an awesome general and then on the side being like, I have really no idea what I'm doing or what I'm supposed to do here. I really need help. And I think that's incredible for character development. One of my family's favorite characters, King George III. He is King George III, and he also has 3 songs. I'm just gonna flat out just say what the order for these ones is, because it's kind of, there's not exactly a whole character development for the king per se. He's kind of more or less the same throughout the whole story, which is because it's not really about him or about his nation, so you get what you get. So the order for his songs are the order that they come in for the musical. Number 3, I Know Him. There's nobody else in your country. I just love the part where he says country, because I think that's really funny, because he's like, I still don't accept you as a country, okay? What comes next is number 2. You're on your own. Awesome. Wow. Do you have a clue what happens now? Self-explanatory. He kind of serves as like the little in-between intermission kind of thing that's like, oop, yep, and that's about it. Then You'll Be Back. It's just such a great song. His first song is just so good. You'll be back, time will tell. You'll remember that I served you well. His voice, Jonathan Groff. Ooh, boy oh boy, are you really good in this role. But yeah, not a whole lot of character development to really explain. Those are more or less just my personal preferences for the character King George III. Lawrence, I gave him 3 songs. Number 3, 10 Dual Commandments. It's the 10 Dual Commandments. It kind of explains his willingness to help out Hamilton and how he's a really, really close friend with him. That's as far as it really goes. Number 2, My Shot, is when you kind of get that introduction to him. He said, we'll never be truly free until those in bondage have the same rights as you and me. That's your introduction, and you're like, this is a really good person. You're just like, yes, please. I wish you had lived and had done those things that you were gonna do. So yeah, his first song is The Story of Tonight. Because that, while in My Shot, he really immediately says, like, yes, I'm against slavery. In The Story of Tonight, I think he speaks more broadly about freedom and how that is a integral part of his character, is that he thinks everyone kind of deserves freedom. Lafayette gets 3 songs as well. He gets The Story of Tonight reprise as number 3. I just really like the part where he says, you are the worst, Burr. I just really like that part, because it's like, ooh, straight in your face, what a buddy. Number 2, Yorktown. It tells about what he's gonna do after the war ends, and he says, I'll go back to France. I bring freedom to my people if I'm given the chance. I apologize for my terrible accent. I'm not French. Yeah, that's basically as far as the story beats goes for them. And then, of course, number 1, this is the only song that he really has a big part in, which is Guns and Ships. I am not gonna attempt to sing anything from that one, because we've already seen me stumble over plenty of words now. But it seems self-explanatory why that is the number 1 song for his character. It is the main one where he just goes at it in terms of vocality and purpose. Hercules Mulligan, poor man, only gets 2 songs. And that's me being generous. My shot, I'm joining the rebellion because I know it's my chance to socially advance instead of sewing some pants. That's just the only amount of character information you really get. And then Yorktown. Hercules Mulligan, I need no introduction. When you knock me down, I get back up again. That's Hercules Mulligan. Sadly, he didn't get a whole lot of other parts. Philip gets another 3 songs. Number 3, Stay Alive Reprise. Just makes me cry when he says, I would always change the line. Tears. That's all I need to say about that one. Blow Us All Away is a huge character development stage for him. Blow Us All Away is basically his theme song. So he's gotta be my own man like my father, but bolder. He walks behind the legacy of his father, and he's trying to be a lot like him. So he is bold and brash and everything that Hamilton was, basically, and it ends up leading to his death, sadly. Yeah, Take a Break is his number 1 song, because that's where he's kind of introduced, and it writes the melody for him where he plays piano with his mom, and that's just really sweet, and that's a main part of his character since he doesn't get a whole character arc, technically speaking. He kind of does, but he dies really early, so. Alright, last but least. I'm going to say not least, but I really don't like Jefferson. So, last and least, Jefferson. Number 6, we know, is just... I included that just because he says, my God, just so funny. It's just so funny the way that he says that. And so that's why I included it. Number 5, the election of 1800. It might be nice to get Hamilton on your side. It's a real character pivot because it's like, oh, I hate Hamilton. And then Madison's like, please don't freak out, but we really need him to endorse you. So that would be great. And he's like, he'd never do that. And then he does. So I think that's a big point for him. It's just like, oh, this guy who's been your enemy this entire time is actually someone that could be really useful to you. Cabinet battle number 2. We made a promise. We signed a treaty. Again, he sticks by Lafayette. Even though his first friend Hamilton, not first friend, but his friend before Jefferson, Hamilton, does not stick by him in this circumstance. So it really signifies the fact that he sticks with France powerfully. Okay, number 3. Washington on your side. He basically says, bring me the dirt on him and I will be the one to unmask him. And I think that's just, oof, big Jefferson move. Number 2, cabinet battle number 1. Don't tax the South because we got it made in the shade. I just really hate him. This is like the first introduction of him beside his intro song. And it just makes me really despise him because I'm like, slave labor, sir. And that's all I have to say about that. But it says a lot about him regardless because it makes me upset. Okay, number 1. What did I miss? What did I miss? Virginia, my home, sweet home, let me give you a kiss. He's just really lackadaisical. And doesn't really care about a lot of things that's going on in this circumstance. And it's his character intro, so how could I not place it at number 1? Okay, so after going through all of these, I'm going to put up right here what the number 1s are for each section. And I'm going to say what my number 1 favorite of all time is. So it's not Jefferson's song, spoiler alert. So my favorite song, the ultimate number one song from this musical, in my opinion, is a hard choice between Satisfied and Wait For It. I just think both really do such a great job for the characters and for the musical as a whole. And I guess if we were going to say which one progresses the musical more as a whole, and kind of covers all of the characters instead of a more specific character profile, in that case I would say Wait For It, because Bertha plays such a critical role in Hamilton's life and other people's lives in the play, or the musical. So, of all time, my favorite is Wait For It. It's close between Satisfied. Satisfied is one that I will sing along to probably more than Wait For It, but Wait For It just really hits you with its emotional impact and how it characteristically develops Burr. So, yeah. That is my final decision. You can feel free to fight me in the comments about some of the songs that you disagree with or that you might have changed around, or what your number one favorite is. Yeah, I am open to new opinions, of course. I want to just highlight at the end of this, again, my further adoration for the effort put into this musical and how incredible it really is. I love the diverse cast. I think that is so amazing, to have these more traditionally white founding father roles being taken on by people of color. I just think that's incredible, and it further adds on to my love for the intentions behind this, and the story overall. So yeah, that is my ranking. That is my little spiel of Hamilton. Bye!